Future husband's brother manipulated him to ruin our wedding the day before. I'm sorry, but I'm very exhausted and emotional tonight. Please excuse my grammar and formatting. Tomorrow is supposed to be our wedding day. We've been engaged for roughly a year. Earlier today, his brother, Nigel, went to the ER, and I tagged along with my fiancé, Robert, because we were together when Nigel called him. Last minute stuff. I stood in the corner while they spoke about what was going on. In short, Nigel went to the ER because his heart was pounding. He felt nauseated. He was struggling to breathe, and he felt like he was dying and was constantly trembling. The doctor apparently told him that it was a panic attack. However, Nigel doesn't believe this and demanded an MRI, a sleep study. He's struggling to get good sleep, and infirmary. Also, Nigel said he can't make it to the wedding and be Robert's best man. He's too scared that he's dying and insists there's something wrong with him and it can't be a panic attack. He said, "I know this means a lot to you guys, but it's okay for me to not be there. Your wedding is more important than my health. I just wished I could be there for Robert. We've been through so much together. It sucks that tomorrow is the wedding. I wish I could go." Oh, I'm not saying that my health is much more important than the wedding. I meant, I wish I could be there for Robert. I just smiled and didn't say a single word. After a while, I walked out to use the bathroom and simply waited outside since Robert was wrapping up and Nigel was planning to get admitted. Here's the kicker. Robert wanted to postpone our wedding, the day before the wedding. He said Nigel begged to be there and that they've been through a lot together. Robert lived alone when he was in junior to senior year in HS while Nigel was off to college. His parents divorced and his dad manipulated him away from his mom. And he said that our wedding should be one of the most special moments. But right now he's worried for Nigel and stressed. I calmly, as best as I could, explained that tomorrow is our wedding. The after-wedding venue and wedding venue are booked. Our flight for the honeymoon is the day after the wedding. Catering and photographers are ready, etc. He refuted and begged me to understand. I then got dropped off where I was staying for the night, a hotel suite where my close friends and I were chilling before the wedding. I didn't say a word to him. My issue is that this isn't the first time this has happened. Nigel has had constant bouts of anxiety and panic attacks. He suffered from depression too. However, every time, he always thinks there's something physically wrong. Depression? He must need infirmary because there has to be a tumor in his brain. Panic attack? Definitely, a heart attack, even if the doctors and neurologists say otherwise. Nigel always says that he's working on it, but he only tries to find a physical tie to his mental illness. Here are a few instances of plans getting cancelled due to his brother and arguments we went through. On Halloween Day, I planned and asked 2 months in advance for it to be an us day. Nigel had constant anxiety attacks, so Robert forgot about our plans and was at Nigel's beck and call. Earlier on in our relationship, I've asked him to tell me when he's coming home or if he's late to be home. Just tell me because I get worried and anxious due to PTSD. I had a panic attack because he didn't tell me till 3 hours later. A simple text saying I'm going to be late was all I needed. He left me to have a panic attack to comfort Nigel. I have emotional support cats, and he asked if he could take my emotional support up to Nigel's apartment. We live in the same apartment complex, to help him with his anxiety. I refused and said they were my emotional support. He said they were also his cats. I refuted that we got them for me in the first place. I also brought up that some of my pills, Advil for pain, and melatonin for insomnia, were getting taken away for Nigel. I need those. He refuted that since we were in a relationship, things should be ours and he should have a say if the cats should go to Nigel or not. I made it clear that a lot of my things were taken away to help younger cousins and a cousin with autism when I was younger. I don't want Nigel thinking that he can take whatever he needs and the whole scenario repeating in my adult life. This whole situation was triggering and I could barely speak since I was bawling. He kept asking me to explain when I said I'm currently uncomfortable explaining. He kept pushing and got petty. Either way, I suggested a compromise. Occasional days for 10-20 minutes cat visits. He refused it and brought up how would this work if we have children. On our anniversary celebration, Nigel tried and pushed to make plans despite getting informed earlier that we were going away. He kept saying he already got tickets or flights or etc. Not the only time. It's happened that dates have either been cancelled or postponed because Nigel convinced Robert that roads were dangerous. Then, proceeds to take him out shopping, driving around, etc. on the same day. Anyway, Robert apologized and started setting boundaries. No last-minute planning with Nigel. He needs to rely on a therapist for his anxiety and shouldn't expect Robert to be at his beck and call. Still, he calls Robert 10 times a day. One time he called while we were in the middle of sex. Robert doesn't pick up obviously. Nigel gets angry that Robert doesn't answer the phone and he started aggressively knocking on our door. He then lectures us about staying up all night because there are rare occasions we sleep in, days off and we finished a gaming night, and we ignore his calls because we just want to relax. Right now, my extended family and immediate family came from Florida, Canada, the Philippines, California, Philadelphia, and NY. They're not staying long because it's expensive and going back the day after the wedding. The wedding venue and reception were paid for by a very rich close friend. They also paid for food, the 5-star hotel everyone is staying at, and photographers. If we postpone, then it's all going to be cancelled and no money returned because tomorrow is the wedding. The honeymoon, which was gifted to us by another close friend of mine, is about to get cancelled too. I don't know what to do. Outside of the issue with Nigel, everything is healthy. Robert tries his best to be creative with date activities when it's his turn. He takes care of me when I'm at my lowest and helps me up again. My close friends agree that he's an amazing guy, but everything becomes an issue when Nigel is involved. Tonight, I'm just crying my ass off and my friends are trying to cheer me up. Even my guy friends, whom I'm very close with, they're the Flower Boys, are staying with us just to find ways to make sure I don't cry blood. I'm very thankful for my friends. I just don't know how to even discuss this. Should I confront Nigel? Talk to Robert again? Talk to his parents? Ike. More info. I only have 2 boundaries. Keep plans we've made unless there's an absolute emergency and tell me what time you'll be home. Doesn't matter if my Robert wants to stay out longer. Just tell me in advance. While I do agree it is difficult to juggle on his part, I have been trying to reach a compromise. Having Nigel virtually attend, having another smaller wedding when we get back from honeymoon, and so on. Robert refuses and only keeps rejecting my proposals for a compromise. But he doesn't bring up a compromise, only begging to postpone. Edit. The wedding is postponed for now. My friends are going door to door to explain there was an emergency and the wedding is postponed. Originally, we were going to cancel the vendors but decided that partying would be better and followed the advice of other Redditors to have a party instead. Also, the friend who paid said she didn't care about the money. You'd be surprised how much my rich friends spend without batting an eye. But it feels really disrespectful for us to postpone. As for the honeymoon, my friend group, 8 including me, is scrambling to get last-minute plane tickets and we're renting out an Airbnb villa for 2 weeks. This led to other issues which I'm trying to resolve. Robert doesn't want me going on this improved vacation. Update 1. My F25 fiancé, M25, wants to postpone our wedding a day before it for his brother, M36. Hi guys, I just wanted to make a final update and to answer any questions. First and foremost, I really want to thank you guys for your advice and kind words. Please trust me that I read through most of them and appreciate the concerns brought up. Your words and messages helped a lot during the though time. It also gave me the opportunity to learn what is and isn't acceptable in a relationship. What happened the next day? We got married. That night, around 2 a.m., my fiancé called and wanted to talk. After a debate and consulting my friends, the council agreed, but one of my friends had to be there with us. He agreed. I didn't mean to, but all my emotions blew open, and I raised my voice, bawled and threw insults such as, "You're a fucking ass. You and your brother might as well have an incest. If you don't want to marry me, just fucking say so." And yada yada. He took it all without a word, but he did find offense on the incest part. I'm still not sure if I should apologize, but that is how I felt, but I believe I could have worded it better. I ended my rant with, "If you're not showing up tomorrow, you can give this ring to your brother." Nonetheless, he apologized. He instantly said, "I'll be there tomorrow, I promise." After he dropped me off, he went alone, and reflected about the whole situation. He said he thought it through and only said what he said due to his brother's pressure, and apparently, his brother said more than just, "Can you postpone the wedding? I really want to be there." According to my fiancé, his brother talked about how much he was struggling, how lonely he felt, how alone, and he missed the old days and it didn't make sense for change since they were family yada yada. In addition, while he wanted time for himself, his brother kept spam calling and texting him. Here are some snips of what those texts were. "I'm feeling worse and worse. The doctors are making me wait before getting an MRI. I need you, please." Fiancé's nickname: "We used to be close. You'd always answer my calls. If name isn't wanting you to talk to me, that's wrong. Answer your phone. You never answer your phone." There were a total of 37 missed calls. Fiancé said he didn't want to postpone the wedding and was really looking forward to it. Weeks before the wedding, his friends kept talking about how my fiancé wouldn't stop bragging or mentioning the wedding preparations, so I did believe him. According to fiancé, he wanted time to think for himself without anyone breathing down his neck and backseat gaming his life. And he apologized for not communicating that, and he explained he tunneled and was overwhelmed. I discussed what happened in the past, the situation with cats and medication, the cancelled plans, constant calls that disrupted even my sleep, the door banging, and things becoming about his brother whenever I wanted to do something for myself. He apologized and spoke his side that he has been working on being better by not canceling plans, no longer pestering me about taking my emotional supports, no last-minute planning. And I do agree, he was doing better. He didn't cancel plans and didn't make unreasonable last-minute plans for a year. However, the calls and knocking were constant to the point of disrupting my sleep and scaring me whenever the door got banged. Fiancé said that he had tried to make boundaries so many times. Boundary 1. No more spam calling. Call me once or twice, then leave a message. If I don't call you back for a few days, that means I'm busy and have other things to do. But I'll get back to you at some point. If you wanted to make plans like skiing, just leave me a Discord message and I'll usually respond. Here's the reason for constant calls and texts that I've never mentioned. His brother constantly asking for help like changing the tires, putting up lights, cooking something etc. His brother also calls about groceries. There's a salmon sale? Spam call. Gets angry when no response. Sees this as urgent. His brother wanted to talk about his workday? Spam call. His brother wanted to give fruits? Constant knocking and spam call. Reason for not respecting boundary 1. According to fiancé, his brother said it doesn't make sense to not spam call if fiancé doesn't answer. His rebuttal was, what if it was important? And apparently a grocery sale counts as important. What if he needed help? Furthermore, according to fiancé, this boundary was attempted to be established multiple times. However, his brother dismissed it. His brother grew up in the Soviet Union and moved when he was 7. Their dad has really outdated beliefs, not pushed onto me at least. His brother constantly mentioned that back in the day, they can just knock and call whenever. He said it doesn't make sense for this to change and to give examples as to why this has to change. Furthermore, his brother has said, if name is telling you to do this, that's just wrong. I have mixed feelings that I will explain later. Boundary 2. No last-minute planning. Fiancé said that he won't do this anymore because we have plans throughout the days and when we don't, he just wants to relax and play video games. He also has work and currently we are managing finances to buy a duplex. We are doing research for that. Reason for not respecting boundary 2. It came back that fiancé doesn't answer every call. And apparently those calls were for planning. And the same thing. What if I need help? Boundary 3. Stop knocking on the door in general. If fiancé don't answer the phone, that means he's busy or don't want to talk to anyone or taking a nap. This disrupts whatever I'm doing. Remote work, relaxing, sleep, other activities. Reason for not respecting boundary 3. Refer to the reason for not respecting boundary 1. Major note, fiancé didn't know how to put, things needs to change because I'm trying to build my own life with, name, and I have my own life too nicely. His brother kept saying he understands but we really think he doesn't. He has an on and off relationship. He's never gotten too serious with someone. He's never lived with a significant other or tried to build a life with someone else. All his brother does is work, go home, indulge in hobbies, and complains that everyone is changing. I get he is lonely, and I've been there before, but at the same time, he's not trying to improve this aspect. Even tried to convince him to get a pet because they're amazing companions. But nope. Nonetheless, I have made it clear that I don't want any of these anymore. He said that he'll discuss this one last time. Fiancé answered the phone. His brother has been spam calling still. Right in front of me, on speaker. Fiancé repeated this boundaries. And lo and behold, the same responses were spoken. What if I need help? What if this and that? Yada yada. And fiancé said, that's it. Don't come to my wedding even if you want to. And blocked his brother. Fiancé began to apologize again and again, promising that he will show up and that he will go no contact with his brother if needed. I don't want him to go no contact at all. That's family. I get it, family is important too. All I want is for his brother to stop with this nonsense. We went on with the wedding despite little sleep. His brother tried to attend. Fiancé repeated the same thing about boundaries. His brother refused. His brother was not present for the wedding. How did his parents react? Let me tell you I love my Mill. She is an inspiration despite the divorce and my fiancé running away from home because of his dad's manipulation. She has her shit together and is aging gorgeously. She renovated her own duplex. Doesn't have to pay for mortgage. Can vacation last minute. Has a job that respects and treats her above and beyond. She isn't rushing into anything and is living her life. Her reaction was, I'll talk to him later, but I understand you don't want him at your wedding anymore. I understand and it's your special day. I'm sorry for how he's been acting. Meanwhile his Phil was trying to convince us to let his brother join and that he's family. Mill just rolled her eyes and walked away to her date. I'm not close with Phil but we have mutual respect. He leaves me out of their side of the family's issue and treats our cats like they're his grandkids. So his talk was directed to fiancé. Why didn't I see this as an issue and push it more before getting engaged? Frankly speaking, I don't know what healthy boundaries are. My real dad left. I don't hold a grudge against him. He thought and explained it was for the best because he was doing drugs and deep into alcoholism. He has been in rehab multiple times and he was better but not for long. He never treated me harshly while he was drunk. He refused to be near me when drunk. He taught me compassion and to never judge outcasts. He tried his best and he knew his best wasn't and will never be the best for me. He's a good yet troubled man who never found the right treatment in a third world country. He was talented, got a scholarship to the USA, played basketball really well, played for ping pong and qualified for the Olympics, but he found these things lonely. My mother was good but lived vicariously through me and when those expectations weren't met, she hit, publicly humiliated me by yanking my hair, threatened to strip me naked and put me in the streets, brought me to work and when I couldn't sit still, turns out I had ADHD, she slapped me to the point of a nosebleed. She told me things, I wish I had your brother instead. I should give you to your good for nothing dad, why can't you make me happy for once? And she never denied when other kids insulted me by, your mom doesn't love you. It was never healthy. I never understood what was good. And it only boiled down to, if I was good, none of these would happen. She was always busy. She never taught me life skills and expected me to learn on my own. But over time, I forgave my mom. She apologized and has been letting me live my life when I was 20. She grew up the same way I did, my grandma too. I don't excuse it, but she has gotten better. My brother left as soon as he could to not deal with my mother. He has his own life and is in a better relationship with mom now. He apologized for just leaving me to deal with this. Once again though, I don't hold it against him. It was good he left for his own sake. I have BPD, which, thankfully I'm managing healthily and have learned to self-soothe, PTSD, depression and anxiety. All of these are being managed through medication, therapy and DBT whenever I feel like there's a relapse. When situations with my now husband happened, I always thought that I shouldn't be burdensome. I always think, don't be selfish. It's family, you shouldn't inconvenience others because you feels like this you're being unreasonable, it's your BPD acting up. I never understood boundaries until recently. I could barely speak my mind but my husband has helped me speak up and communicate. My thoughts on this. If, name, is telling you to do this, that's just wrong. I feel guilty. I feel like I'm taking away my husband from his brother. I've been feeling like nothing should change because my husband is with me. I feel like I'm causing a rift. I'm the one who told my husband to set boundaries. He explained that he wants these boundaries too. But he said he has troubles enforcing them because he feels like he's betraying his brother. It's his brother after all. I don't know and I still struggle to understand what healthy boundaries are. So, if you guys have any advice or resources, please do send them. Lastly, I really don't want them to go NC. It's not pretty when you can't talk to someone you care about. His brother has asked to give more examples as to why these boundaries should be implemented and we really don't know what other examples aside from, my husband has other things in his life. How can my husband explain this to him nicely? Things needs to change because I'm trying to build my own life with, name, and I have my own life too. And you don't understand that because you've never settled down with anyone. We were joking that if his brother lives with and so, we should spam call him for every little thing just to let him taste what it's like on the other end. Note, we are on our honeymoon. Friends didn't buy or book anything. I couldn't sleep so I thought I'd give this update and thank everyone for the kind words and advices. Furthermore, the cats are with someone safe just in case his brother tries to get into our apartment and we're on vacation. Edit, comments seem to be automatically deleted. Please feel free to send a chat instead. Now on to the next story. Story 2. Secretly learned GF's native language to propose, however I discovered something else. Throwaway because she read as and I changed around some small details to make it less obvious. Also this is a little long. Sorry and I'm freaking out a bit so some of the language may be frantic. I've been in absolute shock for the past few days. I have no idea what to think or do. My girlfriend, Grace, is German and I am American. We have been dating for 2 years and everything about her was absolutely perfect. She is incredibly intelligent, and so beautiful. We have so much in common. Our relationship has felt so unreal. I knew like a year ago that this was the girl I want to spend the rest of my life with. So I decided to begin learning German and plan to propose in German. I've been studying it for over 6 months-ish and I'm pretty decent at this point and can understand most things. Well, here is where the issue begins. My family, Grace, and I were at a resort in a tropical place for vacation before we go back to school and work and stuff. It was great at first. We had so much sex, spent so much time chilling, talking and having fun. I wanted to be by her side day and night. 2 days ago we were all having dinner at those huge buffets they have at resorts. It was a lot of fun and there were conversations going on from all sides. My family likes Grace a lot, and knows that I'm going to propose. At this point I know German well enough to know the gist of conversations in German. A little while after we began eating, a man that I've never seen before comes up to my girlfriend and says something in German. I've been replaying the moment in my head every second for the past 2 days, so I know exactly how it went. This is the translation. Man, this is the guy? Chuckle, am I going to see you tonight? Grace, chuckle, perhaps if you behave. Then he left. I immediately felt completely dissociated from reality and so much emotion ran through. I have no recollection of what happened immediately after this. I have no idea if she explained who the guy was or just let it go. I don't know what my family was talking about. I was just sitting there. When I came to my senses I felt like a robot. I felt like I had absolutely no control over my emotions, and I felt like I had no emotions at all. I think 5 minutes or so passed since he left. I was acting pretty natural, and excused myself to the bathroom. I washed my face but still felt no emotion. I went back and the whole night went normally. The next day I was acting completely normal as well. It was only this morning that I broke down into tears in the shower. I mean, maybe I should ask her about everything first, but there is only one explanation, right? Their entire interaction felt super flirty, and I have never been the type of guy to be insecure and overprotective in a relationship. So I really do believe that my mind is not lying about the flirty vibes I got. If she did fuck this stranger, then it must have been while I was asleep or something, because we were together the entire time I was awake. I feel like throwing up. I'm writing this in the lobby of our resort. She is sitting a few feet away from me. I have been acting normal and haven't brought anything up. We even had sex yesterday. I clearly have not been handling all of these emotions properly. I recognize that. But I really want to jump off a cliff. There's a nice, steep cliff not too far from our resort's beach. I would have done it at this point if some of my younger family members weren't with me on this trip. I've been wanting to bring it up, but I just can't. Every time I see her my mind goes robotic. Maybe she's not even cheating. Maybe there's a solid explanation. Maybe she explained it right after the exchange, but I just wasn't listening. As much as I love this girl, I wouldn't stay with her under any circumstances if I found out she cheated. Maybe I'll revenge cheat. That might feel good. I don't know what to do. I can't seem to talk to her about this. Please help me. Am I crazy? Am I overthinking things? Edit. I've been learning German to surprise and to propose to my girlfriend. And I overheard a very suspicious conversation between her and a man I've never seen before in German. I think she may be cheating. Update 1. My 27M girlfriend, 25F, of 2 years doesn't know I speak her native tongue. A lot of people thought the last story was fake. One of the common themes was that I learned the language too quickly. It is very possible to reach past A1 level in a language, being able to have a basic conversation, at around 3 months. Also, I am fluent in another language other than English that has a lot of similarities with German. The combination of the two made learning it much simpler. And I'm going to continue improving in the language as it's become a hobby at this point. Anyway, my life has took a complete 180. I was planning on never going on this account again, but I'm feeling better about everything, and I hate when other people don't update. So I struggled with mental health for a large part of my life. I had suicidal tendencies ever since my first memories, starting from the age of 5. My anxiety and depression continued to get worse, but I never told anyone. And I know I hid it very well. This was a mistake. Eventually, I think I suppressed a lot of these memories, and these feelings started becoming more sparse. My mental health has been good for a while before this happened. We were still at the resort at this point. I should have waited until we were back home probably, but I couldn't wait. We had 2 days left at the resort before coming home. As some users have mentioned, I asked her about the situation in English. And if she lied, I planned on speaking to her in German. I just asked her who was that guy. But she didn't lie. After about 10 seconds of stuttering, she burst into tears and left. Again, the same feeling came upon me after she left. I felt like I was a spectator looking into my life, and I had no control over my actions. I felt like I had so many emotions and no emotions going on at the same time. About half an hour later, she texted me a very long message about every detail, everything that happened, and she apologized. I never answered. The short version of what happened: basically she went for a nighttime walk one night because she couldn't sleep while I was asleep early one night. We both do this often, so I believe it. She ended up coming across some show thing they had going on in the resort and met some random people who were all drinking. They happened to be German. She decided to drink with them to have some fun, and ended up going back to that guy's room. She ended up really connecting with the guy aside from just sex. They exchanged numbers and were texting often when we were there. She felt horrible, but she was confused. That's the gist. I'm trying to think objectively here, and if she really likes this guy, as much as it hurts me, I always stress that people should do what they want and focus on their happiness first. He was also really damn handsome. I was too emotional to admit that in the last post. but I was not able to keep a straight mind after she left initially. I never had a reason to be angry before in my life. I know I have a temper, but it usually takes a lot to get me even irritated. The feelings I had and the thoughts I had were so horrible that I don't feel comfortable typing it out. It was so hard to keep it in, and I lost the ability to focus on reality. When I saw her the next time, she wanted to talk to me and apologize in person, but I felt like I didn't have the energy to say a word. I avoided speaking to her for the remaining days. I was trying my best to avoid my family, but when I saw them I think I must have been acting weird because they clearly knew something was off. It was all very awkward going back on the plane, and not telling my family anything when it must have been so obvious something was off. I sat next to her on the plane, which was so weird. At least she respected the fact that I didn't want to talk. She continued trying to talk and text me when we landed here and there. But at that point I never wanted to see or hear from her again, so I blocked her from everything. When I came back I was acting very impulsively that entire week. My semester was about to start, but I quickly canceled all my classes and decided to take this semester off. I booked a vacation to a place I've always wanted to go to last minute. I bought a lot of random shit I don't need. I did some semi-hard drugs that I never imagined myself doing before. I had sex with multiple hookers. I got into fights with random guys at bars. I actually felt very good. I woke up every day feeling like I was on top of a mountain. But I came to my senses over a week after I came back from the resort. There was a stereotypical cliché movie moment instant where I was puking in a club bathroom with that heartbeat music sound. I started laughing and realizing how I was fucking up my life. So I decided to see a therapist, who then referred me to a psychiatrist. I guess I'm crazy. And I was diagnosed with BPD with bipolar 2. I've never heard of BPD before, but after reading into it I felt like a lot of the symptoms were things I've struggled with since I was very young. I guess this trauma really made the symptoms set off even worse. Today, I still have this semester off. I am continuing treatment and will probably start medication soon. I still haven't spoken to Grace. She contacted my sister, but I didn't want to hear what she had to say. I've been kind of avoiding my family and close friends, and I should stop that. I think I learned a lot about myself and definitely learned that I am not ready for a relationship. This was a wake-up call. The anger and sadness has mitigated and I feel like myself again. I don't think anything else will happen, so I won't be on the account anymore. Thanks for all the advice. I apologize for not answering anyone, I just really didn't want to talk to anyone. But I read everything. And thanks for the PMS too.